listen up. Y'all, it's the queen of automation, Meghan Donnelly, here to give you inspiration. Founders and business owners gather round. I'ma show you how to build systems that'll astound. Streamline your processes, no need for...
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Queen of Automation podcast. I'm laughing because I totally just screwed up my intro. On this podcast, we talk about operations, systems, technology, building a lifestyle, why all of these things are only good when they work, and hopefully I help everybody make it work. Sometimes I forget how to make it work myself. Anyway, today is going to be really fun. We have Paulina Tillman. Yes, I met her in Brandbuilt because I meet a lot of people in Brandbuilt. But she is another fantastic person who is helping ex-corporate junkies like myself reframe their mindset. And this is very near and dear to my heart because being a woman in technology, corporate America I was just going to say it, it's awful, right? Like it was awful. It wasn't a good thing. And so having people like Paulina in my life when I decided to make the switch was really, really important. Now, I'm not going to lie, I got really lucky when I left corporate America. I had a lot of CTOs and tech executives who kind of in my back pocket who really enjoyed working with me, so they would hire me in contract. So I kind of got lucky that way. But for all of those out there who aren't lucky and who are struggling leaving corporative in an executive position and then trying to do this entrepreneur thing or build your own brand or whatever it is that you're working on and you're struggling, I'm going to let Paulina tell you about what she does because she's the person that you want to talk to 100%. So welcome, Paulina. Why don't you tell everybody where you're calling in from and kind of tell everybody how you're helping, these ex-corporate junkies, if you will, reshape their minds.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm in New York City. So thank you for having me. Okay, so Mindset Mastery Tribe. Obviously, all these things come from doing it yourself and getting through it and wanting to help other people, which is exactly what I'm doing. There's a lot of things that happen to you after you've been in corporate for 20 years, even 5 years, right? There's a way that you're programmed, just like you're programmed in childhood by your parents that probably worked jobs the whole time, right? So if I'm not growing steadily and getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, I'm failing. If I can't get my health insurance paid for, I'm failing, right? Like all these things that get programmed into you. And also no one knows what to do because you've been told what to do. So like your parents told you what to do. You went to school, they told you what to do. You went to college, they gave you a framework. And then you went to work and your boss told you what to do. So when it's time to kind of like create your own thing to do, it's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do because I just don't want to do it wrong. And no one's giving me a framework. So it's a different way of thinking. Right. And so the core of what I teach is that normally in my background, I have this thing up here. It says being, thoughts, emotions, actions, results, and everything starts with who you're being, not your actions. So if you're, you started a business and you're like servicing clients or running ads on Meta or doing whatever, but you're doing all that stuff from lack, from being a person that's in lack or being a person that has a corporate mindset, it's never going to work. So there's a bunch of LinkedIn advice out there that everyone's like, just take action, just take action. And I'm like, I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
Do not take action until you've figured out how to be a different person, have different thoughts and have different emotions. Because if you're taking action from like anxiety and overwhelm, it's not gonna, you're just gonna be spinning your wheels. Yeah. Mindset Mastery Tribe, what we do is we start from being.
I just have to jump in and say how much I love this. I just have to jump in. Sorry. Because I love you. I love what you're all about. Oh. I have always loved what you're all about because like I said, it's very near and dear to my heart because when you leave, it's like you said, it's almost like you are so programmed from childhood all the way up. Like you have to get a good job. You have to go to college. You have to do this. Like you're programmed to do all of this stuff, which I don't even think this day and age you don't even need. Oh, please don't kill me, parents. You don't even need college. I don't even use 90% of what I went to college for. And you get stuck with all of this student loan debt. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's okay if you're not doing the normal thing, right? Like if you're not following along the normal path and you're doing it your way and it's different. And what I love about what you're doing is you're teaching these people who have been so trained to think one way and so, they're on this path of career elevation and having to go through all the steps of in corporate America, and you're teaching them just how to be themselves and how to like lean into themselves, right? Like, yes, obviously there's frameworks and tactics that you're teaching them and giving them as well, tools. But what I love the most about you is you're allowing them to just, okay, literally ignore everything that you've learned up until now. And now
Yes.
just be you. And
We're
here's
gonna
the things that I'm going to give you. Right, exactly. And it's that I think is probably the coolest thing about what you do, because so many coaches and everything, first of all, like you said, there's a lot of really bad advice out there. There's a lot of really bad coaches out there, and because it's so oversaturated right now. But what I love about what you do is that you're not trying to shove something down their throats, like shove your way is the best way. You're working with them, right? Like, yes, you have frameworks, you have all of the things that you're giving them as tools to help them, but you're not trying to just take them from one format and put them into another format and kind of like mold them the way that you think they should be. You're allowing them to mold themselves, which is really the only way that you're going to make a personal brand grow, is by leaning into yourself and doing it your own way, which is craziness to me.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the actual community for a minute, because you've had a community for a long time. I mean, I feel like it's been a long time, and communities are obviously booming right now, and everyone wants a community. How do
Mhm.
you think that your community helps who you're trying to help? Do your people enjoy the community and interacting with each other? I feel like sometimes it's really hard to get people to interact, having come from a community that we're working on and running as well, different kinds of communities. But do you feel like it's hard to get them to engage?
So my community is a little bit different. It's a lot smaller and more intimate. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of picky about who I take. So I don't really take the people that are like, woe is me, right? I don't know what to do. I think I'm just going to go back to corporate. I take people that are like, I know I'm effed up and I want to fix this. And I want to do whatever I got to do. I'm going to be on camera. I'm going to spill my shit. I'm going to talk. I'm going to be open, right? So everybody in the community, like when we're on the calls, everyone talks. And by the way, this is the only offer I have. Like I don't do one-on-one coaching or anything like that. We just do the community because people feed off each other so much, right? Because these things are so common. When someone else is talking about like, oh my God, I've been trying stuff for like a year and it's not working and I'm broke and whatever. If it was just me, of course I could sit here all the live long day and be like, this is how it's supposed to be in business. But it's so much more powerful when there's another person on the call that's like, me too. And then everyone's like, oh shit, this is normal. Like we're all doing this together. Right. So the community aspect, to be honest, when I first started it, I didn't know. I was just like, let me try this because it was basically a combination of a bunch of other programs I've been in. And I took the best out of all those programs and it's worked really, really, really well. And you can do some one-on-one coaching as an add-on to the community, but I don't take on like one-on-one clients just because I don't think it's as effective.
It's really not. It's a lot harder to coach one-on-one. I mean, we have those offers as well. I mean, we do have other, you can do it, but you have to, you have to pay for it for more access and stuff like that. And it doesn't happen as often as you would think, right? People don't just jump right for that because I think, like you said, they're enjoying the community aspect of it. They're enjoying those community calls where they can all feed off of each other, which has been really, 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 really great for us. And we've locked down a lot and we're being a lot choosier as well with who comes in and who doesn't, because having people come in and not participate and not talk and that's not useful to them and it's not useful to anybody else. So we're really focused on people who are actually going to show up and be engaged. And even if you only say 2 or 3 things every call, at least you're engaging in the conversation. right? And so now we call people out
Yeah.
who maybe I haven't talked a lot and try to get them to engage in the conversation, which is really good. So I love the fact that you're doing it this way
Yeah.
because one-on-one coaching, first of all, isn't scalable, right? Like, well, let's get right into it. Let's get right into the ops of running a community and running a business like this, because at the end of the day, you are a mindset coach, but you're doing it in the smartest way possible, in my humble opinion, because by doing it in a group
Yeah.
setting, you have the ability to reach more people and get your message out to all of your members versus just one at a time. As we all know, one at a time is not
Yep.
a scalable model anyway, right? You're not
Yeah.
going to grow effectively. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Can you grow? Absolutely, but you're always going to hit a ceiling because there's only 24 hours in a day
Yeah.
and you can only do X amount of one-on-one calls or coaching calls or whatever you want to
Yep.
call them. So doing it this way is, I think, a gold mine for you. And I think that that's amazing that you've been able to make this work because it's the smartest way for you to get to as many people as possible. How many calls do you guys
Yeah.
run a week?
Every single day, 5 days a week. So the reason that I
Wow.
do it this way is that is how reprogramming the mind works. There's only two ways to reprogram the mind, right? And it's either some crazy event like a near death experience, like a car accident or something like that, or it's time
Right.
space repetition. So, and it's
Because it's like
crazy because
habits.
I've seen
Habits
it
are what,
working.
21 days?
Yep. I've seen
Yeah.
people
So
in there for
habits
like,
are,
there's a girl that's
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
habits are,
I think there's a
yeah. So
lag.
there's a girl in there there's been in there for like a year, and the whole time it's like, woe is me, nothing's working, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. Like, went and got a job, and just recently she posted something in a Facebook group and got like all this interest, and all of a sudden she has like a 6-figure business, and that's one of the things I always tell people. It's not like corporate where you're just growing a little bit, 10% a year. It's like nothing happens, nothing happens,
Yeah.
nothing happens, nothing happens, and then everything happens, right? And then you might lose it all.
Yep.
And then everything happens again. So you have to just expect that, and you have to be okay with it, because if you don't, you just feel like you're failing the whole time, and that's not going to give you the right
Yep.
being, thoughts, emotions, actions, results. So that's why you have to be in the group and be like, oh, this is what's happening, I lost this is failing, and everyone's going to remind you this is normal, this is part of the plan.
And what, I can't believe I didn't even ask this before. What is your background? Like before you started this, what were you doing in life?
Oh, yeah. Well, I had a corporate job for like 20 years, and it was a nice corporate job. It wasn't like I worked for in the ad tech industry. I started out, well, I won't go back all the way to that, but I ended up at Yahoo, right? Which is a very nice corporate job with a nice salary and travel
Yeah.
and benefits and all that stuff. But until so the way I have the kind of typical story where COVID happened and I watched a bunch of YouTubes and I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? And then kind of like manifested my departure from Yahoo. It wasn't until I started a business that I realized there were parts of my brain that were absolutely dead that I wasn't using, because you're so stifled in corporate. You try to have an idea and then it's like 55 people have to approve it. And then it's kind of like, just stay in your lane because that's this person's decision. But when you're in business, you're like, how do I actually make this thing work? Right. And like all these parts of your brain come alive that you didn't even know that you had. So to answer your question, after I left corporate, like around, I think it was like 2021, I had a few failed businesses. Because that's how it's supposed to work. I did a e-com brand. The e-com brand didn't work out. The inventory just got too expensive. I still have the consulting company. Out of the consulting company, we are launching like an ad exchange. Then I built an app, and all these things are kind of in play, right? And then I have Mindset Mastery Tribe, which is like my main thing, which is my passion business, I guess. But to answer your question, I started a bunch of businesses, and one of them kind of worked and the other ones failed, which is completely normal.
I love that you are able to tell that story, because it's crazy to me that this still happens, that there's still this like fear and doubt and imposter syndrome, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I hate all of these niche terms. I hate all the labels. I just hate them. And it's because I feel like as a society, we're so prone to just slap a label on someone or slap a label on something instead of just figuring out what the issue is. Oh, well, we're going to label you this or label you that or label this, and it drives me crazy. But this is, it's such a perfect story because you hear the rags to riches, like you went through this, you went through this, went through this, and now you're here. You hear those types of stories all the time. What you don't hear about is the failures, right? These people didn't get to where they are. Most successful people didn't get to where they are without failing multiple times first, right? Without tripping and stumbling and falling flat on their face. And those are my favorite stories. Those are my favorite stories to listen to because you get to know like what the person was thinking and like who they are. You get to know their personality, like, oh, what kind of business did you try to start first, And you get to actually see more of their personality, I think, in the failure stories than the success stories. And I wish
Yeah,
more people would tell them. I wish more people would tell them because you learn more from the failures. And they're not, and like you said,
totally.
it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing that you stumbled and fell and got back up and did it again. And it's the cycle of you just keep doing it, rinse, recycle, repeat until you figure out one that works, one that you like. And the passion project is probably the most successful one because you're so passionate about it. I mean, I've heard opposite
Well, yeah,
sides
and
of that theory, you know?
yeah, just to be clear, I'm not there yet, right? I'm not like or Layla Hormozy or whatever that's like, oh, I had this little fitness business and now I still in the
Now I'm a
ascent, right?
bazillionaire.
Yeah, I'm not a bazillionaire. So I've learned, I've done like every personal development program out there and I know how it's supposed to work. So I'm peaceful with my journey. But I'm still in the building phase.
Yeah, yeah. The building phase, I think, is the most fun too, because I do think it's where you learn the most. And it's really cool watching you because you're building in public, kind of, right? Like there's a lot of stories that you put out there on LinkedIn, which are great, um, that talk about what you're doing and what you're working on and what's working and not working, as well as obviously the personal stories and stuff like that to build your personal brand up and get your recognition out there. But I particularly like the ones where you're talking about what's working and not working and in the growth of the business part of it, just because that's another thing I wish more people would do. Build in public. Tell people,
Yeah.
tell people what you're doing and what you're working on. Tell people what's working and not working. Find that inner circle of people that you can trust, that inner circle of friends that you can rely on, and just let it all out there. Obviously, no proprietary information or anything like that, but the more you talk about it, the easier it is to get through it, in my opinion. Um, I
Yeah.
find that when you hold it all in and you're building something and you're keeping it all, it's just like you're teaching the people in your community. If you're just sitting there and festering and holding it all in when shit's not working, it's going to take so much more time to get over it. It's going to take so much more time to get through it
Yeah.
because you're going to be kind of like internally festering about it, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a really cool way to build a business, and communities are they're big for a reason. They're out there for a reason. People are loving them so much for a reason because we are so disconnected from each other in this virtual world. And I love the IRL hashtag. That's like probably like the only like acronym hashtag thing I think is great. In real life, right? Go out and meet people in real life. Go to networking events. Like now that you can do it, oh my God, get your butt off of your chair and like go meet some people. Do events, do something. It's really taken a toll on so many of us just sitting here behind the screen. And I think, I shouldn't say I think, I know that these communities that are popping up all over the place, like yours and Brandbuilt and all these other communities, they're really helping people. They're helping people feel connected to other people again, which I think is something because of COVID. And I hate that term, saying that because of COVID. But it's true. We lost human connection. We lost human touch, and that is whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, you still need humans. You still need people.
Absolutely. And so just to be clear, mine's a little bit different in the sense that it's a mastermind. So I know in Brandville, it's just kind of everybody gets together
Yeah.
and asks questions. We don't structure it that way. So there's a structured like teaching. So for instance, like this week we're doing conversion events, right? And conversion events is not necessarily a mindset topic, but everything's a mindset topic, right? Because what happens is you have a conversion event and then three people show up and you decide you're never going to have conversion events again, right? So you create a conversion event, whether that's, you know, a webinar or an email series or like a social media posting series or something like that. And you get the audience and you spiel your message, right? All that comes from like, you're only going to be able to do good jobs if you have the right mindset to be able to execute something like that. If you have the confidence that you have the unique ability to be a person that delivers value, if you are, you know, like excited enough about it to actually do the work, because when you're like, oh, everything's falling apart and I'm failing, you're not going to do the work, right? So like these 2 weeks, we're doing a structured lesson on how to do conversion events. And then we have, you know, Fridays we do some Q&A, but generally we don't do, it's more of a teaching.
Nice. Yeah, we've restructured a bunch and we are doing outcome-based calls now. So we don't do as many calls a week, obviously. We do them once a month now and they're all outcome-based. So there's a thing or a topic that we're teaching on for the first 10 or 15 minutes. And we're showcasing that and showing what it is and teaching people how to do something tactically or strategically. And then after that is the Q&A around that topic and how it relates to their business. And we've definitely found that that is a more productive use of their time, you know, the people who are showing up to the calls, because you're showing them something, you're giving them a tactical training, and then they're sitting and listening and watching and thinking about it based on their business. Excuse me. And then, so then they have questions on how does this relate to my business, right? And so then they start we spark the questions that way. So it's definitely gone. Do you find that your mastery program is like way different than when you started? Because I feel like we've gone through like rounds of iteration, good iteration, right? Like we've now ended up in a place where it's really successful and it's been really successful. But in the beginning, it was kind of like, I kind of felt like we were flopping around like fish.
Actually, I don't think it's that different. The only difference is it's much more, well, first of all, it's much more expensive and it's much more curated, right? Because when I first started, it was like, oh, we'll just talk about the topic, you know, whatever, and people will learn, right? And that kind of worked, but it was so all over the place. And now we have obviously the value of the community is the community. So we have a much more curated community, much more curated like topics and things that people need. And the people that are in it, because the way that you commit to things is you pay money for them because money is energy. So when it wasn't that expensive, people were just paying a little bit, they'd kind of show up, but like they weren't serious. Now that it's valued higher, people show up and they're committed, and that energy drives the energy of the rest of the group.
I totally get it. Yeah. I mean, people who pay attention, right? That again, it's one of those niche statements that's out there, but it's totally true. If you're charging $5 for something, you're getting people, you're getting $5 people, which, you know, I get it. Like there's a need for that, but it's not necessarily the best long-term strategy, right? Like it's not a great, some people throw those offers in at the beginning just to get people in the pipeline. But then what I always say to people is you're getting the wrong people. If your end product is $1,000 a month and you're trying to start people down the funnel with a $5 whatever, the math doesn't add up. It's not going to, the same person that's buying that $5 thing is not going to pay you $1,000 a month for coaching and training and mentorship or anything like that. So it's kind of funny to me that people haven't figured out the math, you know, the math about it. Well, this is really cool. And I really want everybody to be able to find you on LinkedIn. And is there anywhere else that people can find you? Tell everybody where to find you, where the best place to reach out to you is, because I do feel like there's a lot of listeners that we have that would be interested in something like this. I know I have a lot of ex-corporate people in my audience, and they're making a go of it, and the support that you offer these people is pretty remarkable. So please tell everybody where they can find you, the best way to contact you, put it all out there. We'll put it in the show notes so they can just one-click link and find you.
Yeah. So the best thing to do, so I actually have, if you're an ex-corporate business owner and you think that mindset could be affecting you, which I almost can guarantee it is, there's a free masterclass that you could watch. You just go to mindsetmasterytribe.com/masterclass. Watch the masterclass. It's gold. It's going to give you a ton of value. And if you watch it and you feel like, okay, this might be me and I want to go a little deeper, you'll have the opportunity in there to set up a consult call in there with me, valued at $50. I had a girl that just did the consult call and she hasn't, like, she joined the community, but she didn't actually come to a call yet. She already got a sale. So the consult call is going to provide, it's an actual like working, you're going to tell me all your issues and we're going to solve them, right? So she just had a little tweak that she needed. So after you watch the masterclass, set up a consult call if you think that is going to be helpful for you. And then after that, if we mutually decide that it makes sense to work together, we will. And if not, you're still going to get a ton of value from the consult call.
That's awesome. I highly recommend everybody go check out the masterclass. She's a great speaker. Her content's gold. And go check her out on LinkedIn too. I mean, she's got great content. Yeah, I think that's it. That's it for now. And remember, everybody, your mindset. We talk obviously a lot about operations and systems and technology and stuff like that, but I've really been enjoying having conversations with mindset people, because if your mind isn't healthy and your mind isn't right, it doesn't matter what systems and processes you put in place, it's not going to work, right? Your health is the most important part of this whole thing, right? You have to be in the right mindset. You have to be well. You have to be healthy. All of this stuff matters the most. And without it, it doesn't matter what your apps look like, what your systems, what your processes are. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. So get your mind right. Go talk to Paulina. Go find her. And yeah, we will see everybody next week. And remember, operations and technology and systems and mindset are only good when they work. We'll see you next week, everybody.
Thank you so much. Bye.